feel that? Are you gonna feel that? Are you gonna feel that? Are you gonna?
All right, guys. Hey, what's up? Steve Sleepy. Welcome back to the channel. And if you've been following along for a while, you know that we've done quite a few videos on this guy. And deservedly so. It's a great bike. I'm really digging it. I've done a few more modifications to it, but didn't even film it. But love the bike, but we have other ones. And we spent a bunch of time talking about this bike and working on it. Heck, we even spent some time in a few videos working on this guy, the Harley. But that's not what we're gonna be working on today. Don't fret with this though. I'm still waiting on a few parts, but we're definitely gonna rebuild the front end. As riding season comes to a close here in Ohio, we're gonna get back more into some bench projects, things like that. But that's not what we're talking about today. Today, what we're gonna be talking about is my good old buddy, the Africa Twin. This is a 2016 Honda Africa Twin that I've had for a bunch of years, put well over 14,000 miles on it since I got it. Love it dearly. It's one of my favorite bikes, but obviously this summer got consumed by the Aprilia and the BMW. But this weekend, my buddy Cliff throws the fall foliage ride, where here in Ohio, you have peak leaf, where everything is like beautiful colors. So he puts together kind of a really laid back, slow type ride, 35, 40 miles an hour through the metro parks and things like that. Perfect ride to take my daughter with me. Last year she came, it was 48 degrees last year and she still had a blast. So we're gonna pull this out of retirement and we're just gonna do some general things. Something that you might wanna do to any bike that maybe you haven't ridden in a while. Just go over it and check a few things. So let's give it a once over and make sure we're gonna be good to go for this weekend. All right, here she is in all her glory. It's been about a couple months since we've ridden her, to be honest. The BMW came into my life and this guy got kind of put to the side. I know it's sad. Anyways, we're gonna get this ready, make sure it's good to go for this weekend. And the things that we're gonna be doing is we're gonna check the air pressure, we're gonna check the chain and make sure it's lubricated and not dirty. We're gonna check and make sure the battery's okay and that it's gonna start. In fact, we're gonna start with that because why do all the rest if the bike won't even start? So I'm gonna go ahead and turn it on. It's been on a battery tender, so I assume that it's gonna be okay. Has some gas in it. Fuel pump kicked on. All right, let's see if she goes. Ooh. Okay, so we have a running bike, so let's go ahead and start with the other stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and grab my tire gauge and we're gonna jump down to the front wheel. I'll meet you there. All right, ignore the cobwebs. Anyways, my time of owning this bike, I know that I like the front tire at about 34 PSI. It gives me plenty of traction, gives me a little bit of bump absorption, and overall it's just handled great. So we're gonna go ahead and check this guy. Now I think it's probably gonna be a little bit below that because it's been sitting. And I mean, this is something you should do at your bikes anyways. I mean, tire pressure is something so easy to check and it can make such a difference in the handling of your motorcycle. It can be quite dangerous too if you let it go too low. But you will notice as the air pressure goes down, it gets harder to turn, it turns differently, everything about it just doesn't feel right. All right, let me see if I can get this on here and we'll give it a test. Let's see. I'm gonna start at 0. And what do we get? Woo! It's about 14 or, well, no, yeah, 10, 11, 12. That's 13 PSI. That's not good. But it is a tubed tire, and like I said, tubes do weep quite a bit over time, especially these aren't new tires either. I have a new set of actual tires that I'm gonna be putting on here when the winter hits for next year. I'll probably do new tubes as well, just because, you know, after a few years, tubes get kind of old. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and fill this up. All right, I didn't hear anything. Believe it or not, sometimes, especially with tube tires, when you fill the tire back up, if you just be quiet for a second, sometimes you can hear a hiss and you actually can figure out that you have a leak. I don't hear anything. Tire feels pretty solid. Let's go ahead and grab our gauge and see where we're at and dial in as needed. So, all right, we are at 34. Talk about nailing it. All right. Let's move on to the back. Oh wait, don't forget to put your cap back on. Seriously, put your caps on. It keeps mud out, sticks from hitting it, anything like that. It's always a good idea to make sure you have your cap on your valve stem. I know it seems ridiculous, but it really can save you. All right, we're gonna do the same thing with the back wheel. Go ahead and get the cap off. Now, I do spring for some good caps. I like the metal ones, but that's just me. All right, let's see where we're at on the back tire. Okay, we didn't fare as bad. We're at 30 PSI. We want to be about 36 for this guy. So we'll just pump a little air in there and we'll check it again. All right, again, I don't hear any leaks, so let's go ahead and see what we got in there. Oh, that's a little hot. We're gonna go ahead and pull some out. Give it another test. Again, 36, 38, and 37. We'll call it right in the middle. All right, I like that. Next thing while we're back there, I'm gonna grab the camera. We're gonna check out the brakes, make sure there's enough shoe left to make sure we can stop. I don't wanna have my daughter on the back and not be able to stop. So let's go ahead and inspect the brakes. All right, if you look with me right over here, that's the pad on both sides. Probably can't see this side that well. But you can see here we got a nice 1/4 inch or so of meat on that brake pad. We should definitely be okay with the rear. Let's go ahead and jump to the front and see if we're doing okay with the front brake pads. Okay, these are much harder to see for you guys, but for me I can make it out pretty decently. But if you look down inside here, the pads are getting a little light, but there's still life left in them. But I'm definitely gonna wanna try to think about changing them next year. They're not down to the wear marks, but they're definitely not full. And so that's something I'm gonna think about doing over the winter as well, but I think we'll be fine for this weekend. All right, moving right along, we're gonna go ahead and check the chain next. Okay, we're down here by the chain and it doesn't look too bad. We got nice slack in it, but it is kind of dirty. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm not gonna do like a full chain clean where I use kerosene, I'll take it off, or if I can't take it off, I'll brush each section. I'm just gonna do a quick wipe off with some citrus-based degreaser, spray it on my rag. I'm gonna run the chain through the rag just to get the general dirt and crap off of it. Then I'll go ahead and lube it, and that way I'll know that the chain's gonna be good, at least for this ride, etc. So, all right, let's do that. And you can spray it on the chain itself too, it ain't gonna hurt anything. And it's a degreaser, so even if it gets on the wheel, I'm not that worried about it. Again, if you're really gonna go at a chain, you're gonna wanna get a chain cleaner, a brush, the whole 9 yards with that stuff. But just for this weekend, just make sure that we're not grinding dirt into it, etc. And then at some point this weekend, I'll go ahead and I'll clean the bike so that my daughter doesn't have to be embarrassed being on the back of Dad's gross, laying around for 2 months after a twin. I feel bad. I feel bad that I neglected her. I love this bike. This was the first motorcycle in a long time that I really wanted, didn't think I was gonna be able to afford. Actually drove in the middle of a snowstorm with my buddy Oscar. Oscar, I know you're watching this. He was there, way out to Buffalo. And like when we got near Buffalo, it was like 2 feet of snow. We get to the dealership, everything was cool. I got a really, really good deal. A gentleman bought it, did 1,200 miles on it, just for an adventure ride, decked it out and decided to sell it for like 3/4 of what it was valued at. So I had to buy it. So we loaded the bike onto the trailer and we started driving back, and the snow was so bad. Now mind you, I am towing with a Hyundai Accent with a 5x7 Harbor Freight trailer behind it at the time. So this was not the best scenario to begin with. Then add into that about 12 inches of snow. I think we were able to do about 30 miles an hour, maybe 35 on the highway with a line of about 800 people behind us, not so happy that we were going 35 pulling this motorcycle in the snow. In fact, the Jeep decided that he wanted to go past us at much velocity, got pretty sideways in the heavy stuff, and I thought we were gonna witness a crash, but he pulled it off. So to anybody that was behind us that day, I sincerely apologize, but I wasn't gonna throw away my brand new bike trying to get it home fast. Anyways, little side diversion there, but still a funny story. Oscar, I know you remember that. That was a fun day. All right, let me just get a little more of this on here, make sure it's degreased. All right. Now, this is not a use what I use kind of thing. I know oils, chain waxes, all that stuff, every single person has an opinion and every single person's opinion is correct. Nobody is wrong to that regard. Like I will always tell you guys in this channel, I'm just showing you what I do. I'm not telling you that it's right. I'm not saying that it's wrong. It's just what I do. I've been riding for a long time and I've been maintaining my bikes for a long time and I've never really had any major failures. So I think I'm doing a pretty decent job, but I'm sure other guys have opinions and that's fine. You're right. You don't even have to argue. All right, so anyways, I'm using the old dirt bike chain wax. It is kind of a dirt bike. Instead of all those expensive things, piece of cardboard, here we go. Get it in there, okay. And he's moving down the line. Oh, there we go. All right, that should be good. Okay, I'm gonna let that dry. That's the cool part about chain wax is it kind of dries on there and that way you don't get stuff all over your bike. But all right, so we checked the tire pressure, made sure the bike started, checked the brake pads, everything's good there. We lubed and checked the chain. The wheels are pretty decent. I don't think there's any spokes loose or anything like that. All my shift linkage is cool. Went ahead and I felt all the pegs, everything's tight, not falling off, so I don't think we'll have any problems there. So again, we just had to wait 2 minutes because a Harley went by. That must have been straight piped. Holy cow, was that loud. All right, anyways, what I was saying was, I kind of checked over the pegs, make sure they're all, tight, it's not gonna fall off. So I think we'll be okay to have a successful ride with my daughter this weekend. All right, I guess before we move away from here, I probably should have done this before I started the bike, but I know it has oil. But anyways, we're gonna go ahead and check the oil and make sure that we're at the safe level so that when we go on our ride, we don't have any issues. And with the Africa Twin, you wipe it, put it back in the hole. You don't have to put it down, you just put it in. Although with my bar, it makes it kind of fun. Okay, goes in, pull them out, and look at that, right to the full level. So we are good. I don't have to think about the oil. We'll make the ride, no problem. Also, when you put your oil plug back in or your dipstick, you don't have to break it off tightening it. Just give it a little hand tight like that. Should be good to go. All right, just to recap, we went ahead and made sure this bike's gonna be ready for the fall foliage ride this Saturday. So what did we do? We checked the tire pressure, which the front and back were low. We brought the front to 34, the rear to 37, and that's good to go. We checked the spokes when we were down there. We checked our brake pads to make sure that we had enough brake pads to last for the entire ride, and that's not a problem at all. We lubricated and checked our chain, so we know we're not gonna have any issues with that. We checked our oil. I also checked to make sure that the clutch is free and clear. Your front brake has lots of pressure to go ahead and squeeze those calipers, same with the rear, and we are good all the way around. So on that note, hey B, come here. This is my daughter Beatrice. Say hi, B.
Hi.
Are you excited to go on the ride?
Yes.
Did you have fun last year even though it was cold?
Yeah, it was really cold, and I had a whole loaf of bread.
You did have a loaf of bread at all the stops, but it's supposed to be warm tomorrow, so we're gonna have fun, right? All right, give me fun. All right, so we're gonna be using our helmets with the new comms that I just installed, and that's gonna be great because tune into the next video because one of you guys might be taking one of those home. More details to come. All right, so if you can, like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.